Don't fear the technology, but embrace the technology. There's a lot of beautiness inside of this kind of technology, and experiment how you can use it in your workflow and just go with the flow and start with it. VRT is a public broadcaster for the Flemish region here in Belgium, and we are doing a lot of broadcasts here in our multifunctional studio, which we have built now 2 years ago. The main purpose here was to see how can we use virtual production technology in our main workflows for all of our programs. That goes from news formats to entertainment programs to sport shows. We can do everything inside of the studio.
So the process of the installation of the complete studio, it took us, I think, more than a year. First of all, the idea is to have all the productions, get them in the same idea of having one studio where you can have different sets in, as we're a public broadcaster. So it was also quite a race because we had a strict deadline to get everything managed. After the order, we started building in parallel the physical wall, and then also the zero density virtual installation.
When we started this project, we were looking for a graphical system that could handle these kind of LED volumes and to do augmented reality, of course. Behind me, you can see the LED wall. That's the main element of the studio, of course. It's an LED wall of 33 meters wide, 4 meters high, and it has a pixel pitch of 1.8 millimeters. It's being powered by 5 engines by Zero Density, which is running Unreal Engine. Then we have 2 tracked cameras. They're using the Red Spy, and there we have some dedicated AR engines from Zero Density, which also use Reality Engine and Reality Hub to provide augmented elements inside of the studio.
We mainly use Reality Engine for the augmented reality part. The other side is then the node graph that comes with Reality Engine. It's very nice. Not everyone is very technical and into code, so this is something that lays in between.
The good thing is that in Reality 5, Zero Density is keeping up with the pace of Epic Games and the launch of the new Unreal versions. And that helps you to get the new tools which are being released by Epic immediately also in Zero Density software.
We use Zero Density to bridge the gap between the gaming world and broadcast world. Makes it easier for broadcasters, operators to work in an environment they know and they're used to, and that's what the added value is of Zero Density.
I think the good thing about our partnership that we have together is that we really had hands-on experience here at VRT. People coming from Diginet and Zero Density coming to VRT to help us implementing these workflows in our environment.
When customers come to us with virtual production needs, we always know that Zero Density is going to solve their problems. Their product is really cutting edge and they are really on top of new developments. Even now when the project is live, Zero Density is still invested in helping us finding new ways of doing things, like for instance this LED wall. Now it uses 5 engines to drive 5 of the 4K inputs. We are now going to test a new evolution of the Evo hardware to do it with only 1 engine and 5 4K outputs completely synchronized on the LED wall.
When we started this project, this was a studio which was occupied by a whole physical set, which was only used during 1 hour. And the main goal of this project was to make this studio more efficient. We came up with the idea of putting an LED wall inside of the studio to make the studio more multifunctional. For the news department, we made a lot of programs here in this studio with a big LED screen. We started with the main news programs, De Zaken, De Afspraak. We made an election show with the results in the big screen, so you have a lot of possibilities in this studio.
We use the studio every day for our standard daily news shows. So we have 2 news shows every day the entire week. We also do our sports, for example, the Olympic Games we recorded here. So yeah, it's really an intensive usage on the studio.
Last summer we decided that we really needed a dedicated team of people working on this kind of productions. We have now, I think, a dedicated team of 5 people whose main focus are working on this kind of studio environment. That goes from a virtual set designer to a technical artist to game developers, and that team is working together with art directors, with also our physical set designer, with our motion graphers to build sets in this kind of studio. So that's an important one. We have a virtual production team at VRT, but that expands when a new project is coming. I think what's different right now is you can use this kind of technology also when the studio is being used for other productions. You can still design your studio, have a pre-visualization of it, before you get into the studio, and that makes you more efficient in building new projects. Also, we are moving towards a more agile way of working. That means that we get our content makers inside of the studio, get feedback on what they see, and then get back to the design on a more weekly, 2-weekly basis. And that makes it you can adapt feedback and iterate on it way better than before. The next step is to have more productions inside of the studio, but also to do them more internally. Since we are still creating the new team, there will be a big project coming up next year, which we will do inside of the studio. And we're very proud that we can do it as a team and together with our content makers here at VRT to make it definitely a VRT production inside of the studio.
I'm excited to start looking into motion design, unified system that's made for broadcasts. So I think that's gonna be a very good opportunity to show some cool graphics. Yes.
I think the added value of this kind of solutions is that you have a new way of storytelling. When you in the past had the overlay graphics, you had full screen graphics, but also the in-screen graphics, you now have a new kind of graphics, and that's the augmented reality. And that makes you way more flexible in do your storytelling inside of these kind of environments. But also with the LED wall, you can go all the way with your storytelling. And I think, we're only at the start of what we can do. And the best is yet to come, I still think.